Up to 2% of adults over 60 have kidney damage, and most don't even know it. Welcome to Bond Senior Health. I'm Bond, here to share simple ways to protect your golden years. Protein is essential for strength, repair, and immunity, but the wrong kind can silently strain your kidneys. Today, I'll reveal 4 kidney-friendly proteins that nourish without harm, plus 6 high-risk proteins that look healthy but aren't. Stay until the end for one daily habit proven to strengthen kidneys over time. Imagine for a moment, however, a protein derived from plants that was not only complete, but also abundant in fiber and unexpectedly gentle on the kidneys. It is hidden by the minuscule grain that has provided sustenance to humans for multiple millennia. It is important that we talk about quinoa. Now, quinoa is the covert revolution that is hiding in your cabinet, and tilapia is the perfect comfort food that is served on a plate. It is not a showy thing. In spite of the fact that it is not flashy, it offers complete nourishment and does not pose any adverse effects on your kidneys, which is something that the vast majority of plant-based proteins just cannot compete with. In terms of the proteins that are derived from plants, quinoa is one of the few that can be considered totally complete. Therefore, it contains all 9 of the amino acids that your body requires but is unable to produce on its own. Only 1 cup of cooked beans can provide you with 8 grams of high-quality protein, in addition to the additional benefit of fiber. In addition, those who suffer from kidney disease can benefit covertly from the fiber that is present in the food. How come when nitrogen waste and urea are eliminated through the digestive tract, it helps relieve pressure on the kidneys? This is because it helps eliminate nitrogen waste. Over the course of time, such relatively minor adjustment to the removal could have a substantial influence. In comparison to legumes such as lentils and beans, quinoa has a lower potassium and phosphorus content than these other legumes. When the kidneys are not functioning properly, these 2 minerals can cause extreme variations in fluid levels, issues with heart rhythm, and bone loss. This is a noteworthy finding because these minerals can cause these disorders. Quinoa makes it easy to avoid all of that while still providing your body with the vigor it needs to heal itself. Sandra, who is 70 years old and lives in the neighborhood where I live, has been experiencing bloating and potassium spikes that are highly unpredictable. She fell asleep as a result of eating rice. A heightened sensitivity to lentils developed in her. However, she saw a significant improvement in her digestion, energy levels, and blood work stability after she started increasing the amount of quinoa that she included in her weekly meals. She noted, "It's not heavy, but it stays with me," that it was not heavy. Do you wish for the best possible results? Rinse the quinoa thoroughly before cooking it in order to get rid of the saponins that are bitter. For a simple steaming, you can simmer it in water or a broth with a reduced sodium content. In addition to veggies, it pairs well with tofu. Just to put the cherry on top, you should avoid adding any salty sauces or cheeses because they will ruin everything. Due to the fact that it combines the power of grains with the equilibrium of full proteins, quinoa may be used to provide your body with fuel rather than to fight it. What would happen if, rather than putting your kidneys in danger, you could reap the health benefits of clean protein while still being able to enjoy a dinner that is both traditional and comforting? The exquisite fish that possesses such attributes is something that we can talk about. Fruit is what tilapia is. If you are looking for a dish that may satisfy your hunger without putting undue strain on your kidneys, there is nothing quite like a piece of fish that has been cooked and seasoned to perfection. On the other hand, this is exactly what you get with tilapia. If we are talking about animal proteins, this is one of the possibilities that is the least harsh. It is still mostly ignored by most people. Tilapia is a white fish that is not just low in fat and phosphorus, but also soft and mild in flavor. It is an unusually easy to digest white fish. To be more specific, 100 grams of tilapia has roughly 22 grams of pure protein and approximately 170 milligrams of phosphorus. This makes it a significantly safer range for persons who have compromised renal function. Compared to other kinds of meat, such as red meat or organs, this is a strikingly different kind of flesh. When it comes to tilapia, the statistics are not everything. What actually matters is how it behaves after it enters your body. That is the most important component. The kidneys are less likely to be affected by tilapia than they are by bigger meats due to its modest weight. You won't have to worry about your system being overloaded with waste. It breaks down easily, and it provides you with consistent amino acids. Unlike other animal proteins, it does not cause inflammation, which is an additional advantage. As a result of its more even distribution of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids, it contributes to the reduction of chronic inflammation, which is the key factor that leads to the impairment of renal function. In addition, tilapia is an excellent source of vitamin B12 and selenium, each of which contributes to the metabolism of the kidneys and protects against the effects of oxidative stress. Since George, a neighbor who is 67 years old and has stage 3 chronic kidney disease, began eating steamed tilapia twice a week instead of red meat, he has completely changed his diet. Within the span of a few weeks, he stated that he had regained his lighter feeling and that his blood tests had improved, pertaining to both the mind and the body. That can be accomplished with the right kind of nourishment. It has a cleansing effect, not limited to merely numerical data. In the event that you are preparing it at home, you should select a straightforward method such as steaming, baking, or grilling it with a little lemon juice and fresh herbs. Avoid using a deep fryer instead. This additional strain will not be beneficial to your kidneys in any way. There is no need to give up comfort in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle, as demonstrated by tilapia. What you need to do is come to a different conclusion. Although it is one of the cleanest and most effective protein sources for renal health, egg whites are shockingly underestimated. Since most people overlook this, let's begin with the most basic. A choice that doesn't seem important at first glance can really affect your kidneys. Egg whites, being the purest form of complete protein, are among the healthiest options for individuals concerned about their renal function. Egg whites are unrivaled in terms of protein. Even though most people think of chicken, steak, or supplements when they hear that word, why they only contain 9 amino acids, yet that's more than enough to help your body recover from everyday stresses, strengthen your immune system, and grow muscle. With about 80 milligrams of phosphorus in a whole egg and only around 10 milligrams in the whites, the phosphorus content of eggs is naturally lower than that of meat and dairy products. This becomes critically important when the kidneys are impaired in their ability to control phosphorus levels. Phosphorus deficiency has unseen negative effects on kidney function, increases the risk of cardiovascular disease, and hardens blood vessels, in addition to damaging bones. From this point on, the plot becomes even more captivating. The purines that form uric acid are practically non-existent in egg whites. So, for people with inflammation or a risk of gout, consuming only egg whites can be a godsend. But what's missing is more important than anything in them. Because it is pure, highly biologically valuable, and free of cholesterol, saturated fat, and heavy digestion. You may eat less of it and still reap more benefits. No oil required when cooking them in water over high heat or with a little amount of scrambled eggs. Stay away from frying if you're concerned about your kidneys and heart. My neighbor Maria nevertheless had low energy and high phosphorus levels, despite her diet consisting mostly of lean foods. After switching to egg whites 4 times weekly for 2 months, she felt lighter both mentally and physically and saw an improvement in her labs. Just as crucial is the feeling of psychological ease, and now things start to seem beautiful. The versatility of egg whites is greater. Feel free to eat whatever you want without worrying about portion control. Put them in your current meal, whether it's a stir fry, soup, or breakfast cereal. You can't ignore the effect they have, sneaky as they are. You should not write out plant-based proteins just yet because you haven't tried one. Not only is it incredibly good for your kidneys, but it's also calming and creamy. Even if you've never liked tofu before, you'll probably end up loving it after this. Tofu, like egg whites to your kidneys, is a stealth fighter, delicate on the outside but powerful on the inside. Most people with kidney disease will ignore this protein source until they learn about its actual benefits. Pay attention now. Tofu is suitable for everyone. If you want a steady stream of protein but are concerned about putting too much acid, nitrogen, or phosphorus on your kidneys, this is the way to go. Just half a cup of tofu provides 10 grams of high-quality plant protein, which is more than enough to support muscle growth, speed healing, and maintain a healthy metabolism without overwhelming your kidneys. Tofu has an excellent protein content and a low acid load. Tofu naturally has a more neutral pH than meat, which means your kidneys don't have to work as hard to bring it back to normal. Your internal balance benefits from reduced metabolic stress and bone loss. The worst part is this: soy protein does not alter renal filtration pressure like animal proteins. Pressure affects blood filters, called glomeruli, over time. They relax with soybeans. Rest slows disease progression in my clinical experience. Protein with antioxidants and natural anti-inflammatory substances like isoflavones nourishes and protects. Mark, 58, with stage 4 chronic kidney disease, told me he felt better after 2 months of adding tofu to his soups and stir-fries. Finally, my phosphorus levels fell, stopping the bloating. It achieved its purpose without flash. Mood for tofu. Breakfast smoothies and scrambles benefit from silky tofu. Choose firm tofu for baking or frying. Remove marinated and cooked parts. They are high in salt and low in phosphate. Tofu tastes great despite its humble appearance. Kidneys, which are quiet, can save lives. The scene has shifted from what to eat to what to avoid now that you know what to eat. The names of some of the most dangerous proteins to kidney function belie their actual danger. Here are 6 of the worst offenders, and I'll tell you why their influence might be more than you think. First, let's pretend to be friends. Turkey bacon is a health food mascot. It sounds cleaner, looks slimmer, and is even touted as better than pork. The flip side is that it's a hidden renal landmine. A single slice of turkey bacon has about 500 milligrams of salt. You have already exceeded your daily allotment by more than 20% with just one meal. And that's not even close to being the worst part. In addition to phosphorus, it contains nitrites and phosphate additions, both of which can cause inflammation and the dangerously high phosphorus levels that can kill those with kidney disease. An elderly woman named Angela, 64 years old, who was diagnosed with stage 3 chronic kidney disease, thought turkey bacon was a suitable substitute. Her laboratory results, on the other hand, revealed an elevation of phosphorus, swelling, and chronic hypertension. Once we cut out processed meats from her diet, things began to turn around. That is the core concept. I believe Dan. Simply said, made does not mean risk-free. Being stable on store shelves is all it means. Other imposters exist than turkey bacon. Although it may seem like a healthy choice due to its high fiber content, one popular plant-based diet actually puts individuals with renal illnesses at considerable risk of overload. Red lentils are often regarded as a nutritional superstar who gets little credit. In the case of renal disease, though, they may be quietly preventing you from making improvements. One cooked cup of red lentils contains almost 350 milligrams of phosphorus and 700 milligrams of potassium. If you eat them often, especially in soups or stews, they can put a strain on your kidneys and throw off your body's delicate mineral balance. Every day, people with renal disease face two silent threats. An overabundance of potassium can lead to weak muscles, irregular heartbeats, or even cardiac arrest. And an overabundance of phosphorus that accelerates the process of vascular calcification and bone loss. My neighbor Eli, who has been a vegan for many years, utilized lentils in his diet on a daily basis. When his energy levels dropped and his labs became worse, the physicians made one adjustment. They started him on quinoa instead of lentils. After a few weeks, his symptoms started to fade and his vitals started to improve. While ultra-processed almost usually means kidney-safe, plant-based isn't always the case. The next protein on the list is salty, comes in a plastic container, and is bad for your kidneys in 3 ways. When I think about hot dogs, I get all warm and fuzzy inside. They bring to mind outdoor activities, barbecues, and the homes of life's simpler pleasures. Nevertheless, your kidneys will suffer greatly from these nightmares trapped in plastic. In hot dogs, the elements of ultra-processing, oxidized lipids, sodium nitrates, and phosphate preservatives all work in tandem. Inflammatory landmines like these are bad for more than just your health. The cells in your kidneys that are responsible for filtering waste, your blood pressure, and oxidative stress are all negatively impacted by the chemical cascade that is released with each mouthful. I had a conversation with Michael once. He was 71 years old and had stage 3 chronic kidney disease. Hot dogs were his go-to for lunch since they were easy, quick, and comfortable. After his glomerular filtration rate GFR dropped and his uric acid level spiked, the doctors nevertheless looked into his habits. When he cut out processed meats, he saw a difference in his numbers. Even though hot dogs in general aren't good for you, the ones that masquerade as energy drinks are downright dangerous. We shall talk about protein powders now. Even though it claims to be clean, pure, and muscle-friendly, whey protein isolate can be the most misleading thing you own if you have renal problems. When compared to complete meals, whey isolates offer a concentrated protein rush, but are deficient in other nutrients that are essential to good health, including fiber, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory capabilities. Because of the massive quantity of nitrogen waste it produces, your kidneys will need to exert themselves more to filter it out. Dan, a physically active 48-year-old, convinced himself that consuming whey isolate drinks daily was beneficial for his body. However, we made a straightforward change when his fatigue and creatinine levels began to climb. We substituted smoothies with tofu and egg whites. After about a week or two, his labs and energy levels started to improve again. Even supplements with a 100% safety record could have hidden risks. On rare occasions, nevertheless, even seemingly harmless everyday home products can inflict the most subtle of harms. Isn't it odd that black beans are included here? Their plant-based nature, high fiber content, and reputation as a heart-healthy diet make them a no-brainer. But hold on a second. Some people with kidney disease may not be able to handle the extra sodium and potassium in canned black beans. Once you drain and rinse, you'll have 600 milligrams of potassium, which can be too much for people with compromised renal function. How about the salt content of specific brands? The amount of salt in just one serving is greater than that in an entire bag of chips. Inadequate hydration management, together with elevated potassium and salt levels, can cause fatigue, swelling, and hypertension. Every single day, my vegetarian next-door neighbor Teresa, who was 66 years old, Betu, would eat canned beans. She was in the dark about the source of her growing potassium levels until the doctors discovered them in her cupboard. After doctors started her on cooked from dry beans that had been well soaked, along with low potassium grains like couscous, her levels quickly stabilized. Always keep in mind that even healthy foods might have negative effects on your kidneys. As a last item, our last surprise might be the most misunderstood one we've ever experienced. The claim of enhanced vitality and strength belies the fact that all it does is put strain on your kidneys. It's obvious. For a long time, a steak has stood for power, tradition, and might. On the other hand, that specific steak can slowly deteriorate the health of those coping with kidney disease with every meal. Even the leanest cuts of beef are high in saturated fat, phosphorus, and uric acid, all of which can put extra strain on the kidneys and raise the risk of cardiovascular disease and gout. The taste is unimportant. The price is the only factor here. The 72-year-old James would have steak 3 or 4 times a week. Meat gives me energy, he'd admit. But as time went on, his kidney condition, gout attacks, and testing all became worse. Things started looking up until the physicians suggested cutting back on beef and replacing it with other kidney-friendly proteins. You might have to make different decisions to stay alive, but flavor and tradition shouldn't have to. While food influences long-term health, morning behaviors can either benefit or harm kidneys. Sometimes basic things work best. There are no diets or pharmaceuticals. Your body is simply progressing. Morning walks are amazing. Only 20-30 minutes of light walking and after waking up can benefit your kidneys more than most people believe. It promotes renal tissue oxygenation, blood circulation, and toxin filtration. It regulates blood sugar and hypertension, two major causes of kidney damage. A simple morning walk reduced edema, increased energy, and improved mood within weeks. They stated, "It's like my kidneys wake up with me." That is the point. Movement sustains oxygen-based life. You may strengthen your kidneys by gently moving them every day for 30 minutes. After learning what to eat, avoid, and move. Let's wrap up with some important lessons that could make or break the line. Your kidneys don't need to be perfect. Care, constancy, and little cumulative choices are required. Reducing one poisonous protein, adding kidney-safe egg whites, or going for a morning stroll becomes stronger with intention. Keep any ideas from this video that make you feel empowered, hopeful, or supported. Your next move. More than symptom control is required. You deserve future power, lightness, and confidence. Save this video for future reference because we generally ignore renal health until it is too late. Speak with someone. Subscribe to Bond Senior Health for scientifically proven kidney protection and long-term health advice. One wise decision at a time. I'll support you. Next video.